Hello, welcome to Awesome Bros, and this week, yes, we're finally putting an end to this forever debate, clean versus Haze. Roll the intro.
For an open window on a crappy world, Max and Chris from Ups and Rose. Welcome to Ups and Rose.
Before we dive into this week's video, I want to shout out to our special partners here, My Brew HQ. If you haven't heard about them yet on the channel, then you might be just not aware that they are proudly supporting Ups and Bros with a nice partnership, and obviously it's all for you. Why? Because obviously you can benefit from what they have to offer on their fantastic online brew shop. You can get new equipment, fresh ingredients, fresh ingredients, malts, hops, whatever you need to upgrade your own setup or just to brew your next recipe. And at the moment right now, I think it's the perfect time to jump into the hobby of home brewing. So My Brew HQ is offering, especially to Ups and Bros viewers, a code, BROS, to get 10% off your first purchase, which I think it's quite amazing. Hopefully you guys love this partnership. We are in love with what My Brew HQ offers us, so give them some love and they'll love you guys back. So clean versus Haze. Today, the debate is all surrounded by that. Obviously, there's a bunch of crispy boys, crispy girls out there just raving for the next fresh Pilsner with plenty of sass and floral aromas. And on the other side, you have the Haze Bros and Haze girlette, or I don't know how to say it, but again, thriving to those big, bold, juicy IPAs with very thick mouthfeel, chalkiness at the same time, and all those really kind of like new aromas into beer compared to the older way. But again, to settle the debate, we selected one of the most famous, we call it the Prince of Haze. They're online, and obviously you might have guessed it or maybe not, Craig from BOS Podcast. You probably already know those guys, fantastic friends of the show. So just to kick things off, Craig, what do you think about this whole debate?
What's good, y'all? This is C Certified Brewhead from BAOS Podcast, and welcome to another episode of Hops and Bros. It is always a pleasure to be here with Max and Chris, two of my very good friends. Mate, these guys are doing some great stuff, and I love the concept of this video. Now, Chris shot me a note and was like, we're talking about Haze versus Crispies, and because he called me the Prince of Haze. I would have said the King of Haze, but look, I'll take Prince, I'll take it. I don't spend like $400 on a Bar Canada drop, so I guess I can't possibly be the king. So if anybody is familiar with BAOS Podcast, so we are a craft beer podcast, a YouTube channel, we have a blog, social, all that stuff. And particularly we are fond of New England IPAs, and we have been for many years. I have two cans here. We have one representing Crispies, which is Wellington's Hellas Lager, and we have Overhop's Hazy. Just a quick side note, this is the first ever batch from their own brewery in St. Jean-sur-Richelieu. I had it last night, and my lord, it is like 10 times better than any of the contracted versions. The girls are stoked. It is exceptional. So now, the question being Crispies versus Haze. So something interesting that happened with BOS recently, because we talk about, I guess, New England IPAs so much, I found that people just think that's all I drink. I drink Crispy Boys arguably more than anything else. I don't think people really realize that. If I go to a brewery, the very first beer I'm looking for the Pilsner or Lager. I don't want a blonde. Maybe a Kolsch, but only if they don't have a Pilsner or Lager. But that's what I want, particularly a dry hopped Pilsner or Lager. They are arguably my favorite style right now. Of course, I'm a huge fan of the Haze. I'm going to go the Haze right after I've had the Crispy Boys, of course. But I really feel like the style that speaks to me the most right now, I mean, look, I'm literally dripping sweat. I had to turn the fan off for the video. It's like 30-something degrees and humid and thunderstorms. There's nothing more I would like to drink right now than a Crispy Boy. So I'm much more of a fan of it than a lot of people believe. I sort of find that interesting, but maybe it's appearances speak to that. So this is something that's, whether it's a plain, this is a straight up and down Helles lager. It's one of the best in Ontario, I would say, as far as a easily accessible, shelfy type Helles. I prefer personally the dry hop ones, as I was saying. I love what's it called, Paper Tiger from Bellwoods. Huge fan of that one. Things like that, where it's nice and fruity, just brings a little bit of an extra element to it. Another one I've enjoyed recently is No Bad Days from Nickelbrook, which is a Mexican-style lager, dry hopped with Amarillo, and also has a bit of lime in the back end, so it's kind of like a craft Corona with a bit of a fruity touch. It's fantastic. So, huge fan. But if you want to talk about hazy IPAs, I mean, this is in my blood. This is what I live for. I have a song called Hazy. Go check that out. A music video, actually very similar to the label, which is pretty funny. I didn't think about that. New England IPAs, I don't know, they're just amazing. It's everything that I want in a beer. I love it. The creaminess, that chalkiness. People keep asking me about chalkiness. It's just that dryness that kind of like overtakes your tongue. Like when you have a Tums tablet, that kind of chalkiness. I find a lot of New England IPAs have that. I love it when they're balanced and not over the top. I've had many conversations with Chris and our fellow beer media mates about the quality of New England IPAs recently, and I feel like a lot of breweries are doing them just because it pays the bills. Now, I understand that, but it means that the market is influxed with a whole bunch of average to shitty New England IPAs, which of course is not what we want, and that kind of ruins a style. Maybe some people who haven't had the fire don't understand what can be a good one. Then I see a lot of hate for New England IPAs, which I find astounding. They're just such an exceptional beer. My partner Tiffany and I have introduced many of our friends who do not drink beer at all to craft beer with New England IPAs, because this type of stuff is beer that tastes like beer. We mess with that because we are beer people. People who maybe drink wine or mixed drinks can really relate to the tropical fruitiness of this. There's no bitterness. Everyone thinks IPA, they think bitter, they think mouth ripping. This is a whole other situation, and it really, if I had to pick one style that brings people from, I guess, if they even drink beer at all, but over to craft beer, it's New England IPAs every single time. It's arguably the style of the decade. It's something that had been popular the last half of the 2010s, and now coming into 2020s, I guess you call them. It's I can only see it continuing to grow unless that gets overkill and then it turns right back around. So if I had to choose, I'm gonna have to go the New England IPAs, as you would expect, but very close second for the Crispy Boys. So I'm gonna send it back to Chris and or Max. Cheers, boys.
So obviously, Haze has been what's probably the most popular thing around beer over the last couple of years, and it's been devastating all across the beer industry. I say devastating because, in my own opinion, I'm a big fan of clean beers. And the reason why is because I can't support Haze anymore. It's just everywhere. Seems like it's overdone at one point, and that every single brewery around is just expecting for every beer to be hazy. Same thing with new customers coming in. They want hazy beers. They don't care about flavor profile, what the beer has in general to offer, what are the specialties over maybe water, the usage of malts, or even yeast, which to me is what maybe is lacking. People just tend to overlook the appearance of the beer, the fruitiness that it offers when it's super hazy, and they just connect two of those options and they don't even care about whatever else there is. And if you look at it, the kind of like new wave of beer influencers, I know we're probably the worst to say that, but when I do post a picture of a hazy beer on Instagram, I do get probably 50% more likes on that picture, more engagement, and people want to see them. They're excited about Haze in general. And maybe I'm the hipster in all this, but clean beers have been, to me, one of the most interesting beers out there. And the reason why is because there's a little bit more complexity, and I guess that I can easily jump back into styles that I haven't had in a while, and having Haze just roaming around, it gets a little bit more harder to find those nice, clean beers. But obviously, there's plenty of amazing clean beers out there, and lagers have been one of the main quests to me to just try them all and see what's out there. And obviously, the industry is full of amazing, crispy beers that you can try and have those nice fruity profiles without getting this Ace Paper Tiger from Bellwoods is one of my favorites. In general, it has that nice dry hop feeling while being crispy and also on the clean side of things. And obviously, it's all up to the drinker, but again, clean beers, they are here for one thing, and have always been kind of like made it this way. And I know it doesn't really make sense saying all that into one saying, but yeah, Max has a whole theory about Ace has always been there, and that's why we used to drink in full on tin cans, tin glassware. So the cleanliness of the beer wasn't important back in the days. People were just getting hammered, drinking to drink. And once glassware got evolved to a point that you can see through the glass, then having a clean beer became important. And this is where I guess all the clean history just built up to be those macro lager clean beers. Again, Ace being a bit more appropriated to craft beer at the moment. It's a good way to kind of like differentiate both of them. So I know I might be mostly rambling about the fact that I'm probably on the line between clean and Ace, because yes, I do tend to drink a lot of it because that's what's available at the moment, but I'm getting tired of this. But on the other side, because of all this showing up, Ace just booming and booming, I like the fact that I can find good, clean lagers on shelves or around breweries. And obviously, it's all part of the market in general. Breweries, they need to pay bills, they need to pay employees, ingredients, and whatsoever. So having all this in the balance makes it go a little bit higher for the A's in general. But again, it's all part of the good old debate. And obviously, if you can sit down with your friends, share this conversation with them, see if either they're like more on the clean side of things or they're more through the hazy beers. I guess it's a very good conversation to have, and also a good conversation point when you're drinking a beer. And obviously, I can't blame Ace for being what it is. It brings so much beauty into beer in general, brings new drinkers that would probably have never been into beer in general. So again, I think it's a win-win situation. So at the moment, this is the last upload we'll do for the month of August. We're taking a month off summer just to take a breather and think about new ideas and reflect on what we want to do next on the channel. Obviously, new uploads at the beginning of September. You guys just take the last month of August, just enjoy yourselves, get enough sunlight to be up your game when sun will just dive down during November, December, and whatsoever. But again, thanks a lot for watching. I hope you guys loved this series about Hazy or just Vermont IPAs, and we'll see you guys in September.